Hello Stampers, MJ Owens here, your Southwest Stamper, coming to you from the land of enchantment. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I would like to show you how I made this beautiful sympathy card. It's a very easy card to make. And this is the inside. Today I'm going to do a stamp on the inside, a phrase. So I would like to show you what products I'm going to use today. My card pieces are a piece of Berry Burst, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then we just fold it on the score line and give it a good burnish. And that's our card base. Then I'm using a piece of Whisper White cut at, let's see, 5 1/4 by 4. And I ran it through the tin roof embossing folder, and that makes a beautiful background. And then the next layer is a piece of Berry Burst, and I cut this one at 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. And a little piece, a small piece of Whisper White, which is going to layer on top of that one. And that one is cut at, let's see, 4 3/8 by 3 1/8. So it will just have a nice small border around that one. And then the inside piece is a little bit larger than that, and it's cut at 5 by 3 3/4. And I've already stamped the inside piece, but we'll go ahead and do the stamping, some stamping on the inside. But I went ahead and did this for the sake of time. Now the first thing we're going to do is put our piece of, I'm using Berry Burst ribbon with silver edge, and we're going to put a piece of ribbon right about a third of the quarter of the way up on this. So we'll go ahead and cut that off. And then I'm going to use a little bit of snail just to tack it down. Let's see if I can get this on here. There. So we're going to line this up so I can get it fairly straight. I think I'll put it on the, about right there. And use this line, use this line as a guide. There. And then we'll turn it over and put some snail on the back side just to tack it down. There. So that piece will be ready to go. And then the next thing that we're going to do is do a little bit of stamping on this layer. And the colors that I'm going to use today are Gorgeous Grape, Berry Burst, and Powder Pink. The stamp sets that I used for the inside phrase, I used I'm So Very Sorry for Your Loss and the Big Sorry, but I've already stamped that one. I'm going to use With Sympathy on the front of the card, and this is from Flourishing Phrases, which comes in a 2-box set. And then this one is Sorry for Everything, and I love the sentiments on this one. And then Home to Roost, which is a new stamp set. I'm going to use just these. I call them weeds, but I don't know what they're really called. So we'll use that. Might as well get that out right now. And these are the new cling mount stamps, so you pick them up from the corner because they are very, very strong adhesive on here. So let me grab my block right quick. Okay, here's my block, and we'll mount it on there. I think I'll put it at an angle. There, that way the whole thing is on the stamp. So let's see, let's start with the lightest color and do powder pink. Okay, let me grab a little piece of scratch paper, cardstock, I guess. What we're going to do is just put it underneath here so I can stamp off the edge of the card. So I'm going to stamp this right along the edge. And kind of a little bit off, just a little bit off the bottom and the side. Okay, that's really, really pretty. And then I'll use my chamois and clean that off. And then I'm going to change colors. And go to the Berry Burst. And put that in the middle, but I'm going to overlap it, go a little bit lower, and overlap it a little bit. Okay, there's that one. I'll clean that off. And then I'll switch colors again and go to the Gorgeous Grape. And I'm going to, again, go down a little bit and overlap it. There. So we're done with this one. I'll put it back in the case. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this foam mat out of the Stamparatus because I'm going to use, no, I don't need the foam mat because I'm going to, it's a rubber mount stamp. So I've already lined it up on my Stamparatus. And I'm going to line the card up along the bottom on the 4-inch mark because I've already mounted my stamp. So what I'm going to do is stamp it in Berry Burst, but I'm using one of the ink spots that came in a paper pumpkin, and they're so much easier to use with the Stamparatus. So what I'm going to do is put the stamp case underneath, and it just gives it some support when you're putting ink on your stamp. Okay. I think I'll move this to the bottom. Okay, looks very pretty to me. I don't need to do it a second time. And what I've done is take one of my chamois that were, it looks white because I cleaned it with bleach and it came out really, really, really white. And now I've used it several times since, so I'll probably do that again. But anyway, I cut one in 4/4, so it's so much easier to use on the Stamparatus, the littler pieces of chamois. So let me give you a little hint. This is a clear mount stamp. And what I've done to make it stick without falling off all the time, I took a two-way glue pen from Zig. And I think Stampin' Up! Used to sell these, but I still have one in my stash. So what I do, it's a fine tip, and I'm going to go and get me a wider tip, I think. But you just dot this all over the top of the stamp. Just dot it, dot it, dot it, dot it, and set it aside to dry. If you use a two-way glue pen, I don't know if you've used these before, if you use the glue pen and stick it right away, like on a piece of paper, or if you're going to put glitter on your paper, or embossing powder, or whatever you're going to use, then it's glue. But if you dot it and let it dry, and it's called two-way glue because when it dries, it's a temporary adhesive. It's just tacky, and it'll stay tacky for a long time. So then when you put it down, it doesn't fall off. And when you put it on your block, same thing. It won't fall off. So that's how I found was the easiest way to get these clear mount stamps to stick to your blocks temporarily. So it's not gluing it, it's just giving it enough tack, and it'll stay tacky for a long, long time, and you won't have to redo that. And it dries clear, so that's just a little hint. It's just, I found that to work really, really well for me. Okay, so that piece is done with that stamp, and now I'm going to use the Enjoy Life stamp set. Okay, the Enjoy Life stamp set, and out of here I'm just going to use this little butterfly. I should have got a smaller block, but I'll just go ahead and use this one. And I'm also going to, I'll just use this little foam pad out of the Stamparatus to stamp on. I'm going to use the Berry Burst also, and I'll just use the little Stampin' Spot again. And then I'll put it right about there. So that makes for a very simple but pretty sympathy card. Clean that off. So let's adhere our pieces together. We'll put this one on the background first, and I think I'll use glue, because when you use an embossing folder, you have to make sure enough gets in all of these little grooves or highlights, high places, to actually stick the card down. Put some on the ribbon so it doesn't go anywhere. And a little bit in the middle. Center it the best we can. Tack it down. And then we're going to go ahead and layer this piece. Actually, we'll layer this piece on the small one first. And again, I'll just use a little bit of glue along the edges. And then I'll layer this one. Okay, go ahead and put the big piece on the inside. Well, actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and use that little butterfly again. And what I do, I put that piece back. In this case, we'll go ahead and use this one again for the little bit of stamping on the inside. And let's see, what color did I use? I just used the Berry Burst on the inside. Get it good and inked up. Get my scrap paper back. And I'll just stamp off a little bit. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and stamp the little butterfly. I'll put one about there, one about there, and one about there. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and mount this to the inside of the card. The only other thing that we have left to do is take a little bit of this Berry Burst ribbon, way more than I needed, and we're just going to tie a little knot. We'll see how a bigger piece looks. Whoops, didn't cut that very straight. There. Shorten this side just a tad. I do have some ribbon scissors, but I didn't bring them over here. And then we'll mount that right there along the side. I think that looks very, very pretty. Let me grab a glue dot right quick. Okay, here are the glue dots. And I don't want it to be over the edge, so I'll just fold it in a little bit on the side there. Okay, that makes for a very pretty sympathy card. So there you have today's project. I really hope you enjoyed today's project. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I would love for you to share this with others. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to earn your business. You can contact me through my online store, or email me with any questions, and I'll just list the email below along with my online store. And also I'll list the dimensions along with the products and details. And thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.